I'll keep the answers brief because I do feel we've gone a bit over time. People are tired, but because some of those answers are very long answers. But the brief answer to that is obviously Islam was not spread by the sword. Hopefully, that's something we have highlighted. But for example, the early Umayyads, the first, they actually discouraged conversion because they wanted more income from the jizya. But that was the truth of it. Yeah, the Umayyads discouraged conversion to Islam. They wanted to keep it almost like an exclusive Arab club. When Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, who was one of the Umayyad Khalifas, but one of the rightly guided ones, when he came into power, he reversed those policies of the previous Umayyads. He said, this is totally wrong. And he encouraged people to come into Islam through various means. But yeah, the people who were taken over by the Muslim didn't convert until a couple of generations later. There was no threat to them. They remained as what they were. And only over a couple of centuries, all of those regions like Syria, Iraq, Iran, they started converting into Islam. So yeah, there was never, I don't think there's any instance I know in history that Islam was spread by the sword, because there was no need to. No, why would you want to force people to convert to Islam? Even if you've overtaken a place, why do you want to force them? Whereas with the Catholic Church, it was spread by the sword very aggressively. I'm not saying all Christianity, but Roman Catholic Christianity was well known for aggressive, what they call the Inquisitions. That's what Inquisitions were. They were purifying Western Europe of any other sect of Christianity. Because initially there were many other sects of Christianity, even in Western Europe. So the Roman Catholic Church systematically got rid of all other sects at the point of the sword. Everyone had to become Roman Catholic. That was what the Catholic Inquisitions were, of which the Spanish Inquisition was only one of their inquisitions. So I hope that answered that question. The second part of the question was, yes, so that's a good question. Do we have an obligation as Muslims to spread the message? I think that's slightly changed from what he was saying, was that's slightly different to a offensive jihad idea, right? So there's two things. Do we have a mission to spread the message of Islam? And the other idea, do we have an obligation to spread Islam, the political conquest of Islam by the sword? What some people nowadays are calling offensive jihad. Right? Two different questions. Once again, there's no short answer. All I'm going to highlight today is, remember what Sayyidina Umar said when they were having the battles against the Persians, and the Muslims were victorious. But he said at one point, he said, I wish there was a wall of fire between us and them so that we could stay peacefully in our side and they can stay peacefully on their side. Yeah. So Sayyidina Umar, from that particular statement, didn't seem he had an idea that we have to take Islam to the end of the world by sword. He preferred that we can live peacefully and they can do what they want peacefully. Now, I think what Islam does say is that when Muslims see oppression, they have an obligation to fight it, even if it's in a neighboring country. Yeah, so that can be a justification, I believe, for what you would call an offensive jihad, but only if there's a clear objective of getting rid of dhulm, which is not always the case. Now, the Muslims always lived peacefully with the Abyssinians, for example. The Prophet ﷺ sent the Muslim to the Abyssinians saying that he is a just ruler. He was not Muslim. So a just ruler can be in a place that is not Muslim. So you can't say by definition Islam has to always fight the kuffar. We have to kill the kuffar. They're bad, we're good. We have to kill them. Why did the Prophet ﷺ send Muslim to Abyssinia and said is ruled by a just ruler? And the Muslims never, because of that, because the Abyssinians had helped the Muslims at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, no Muslim ever attacked any Abyssinian, so, and so in other words, I don't think there is any type of idea that Islam has to spread by the sword around the whole world. Yeah, Islam is very much able to coexist peacefully with other people, other neighboring peoples. Yeah, and that the Quran backs that up. Some scholars said, oh, all those ayahs are abrogated by ayah to safe, but many scholars didn't follow that as well. Shah Waliullah was one of the most recent great scholars who completely went against that idea that hundreds of ayahs of Quran have been abrogated by ayah to safe, that we must fight the mushrikeen forever. Yeah. So the Quran very clearly says, if they incline towards peace, then you should also incline towards peace. And you should not transgress against others unless they transgress first against you, and so on and so forth. That is in the Quran.